Hey everybody, welcome back to Damien After Dark. If you're not familiar with this channel, feel free to subscribe so you can get up-to-date content on when I post new things. This is the Baddies Season 2 Episode 10 review. If before we get into this review, if you would like for me to review the new upcoming Zeus series starring Bobby Lights and Rolling Ray, I think it's called Bobby, I Love You. It's like a dating show, kind of like the One Mo Chance format. If you want me to review that show, let me know in the comments and we will do that. I might review episode 1 just to see what the feedback is like and we'll go from there. Other than that, episode 10, we're almost done with the season. The girls are in leaving in Nashville, but going to New Orleans. And after New Orleans, there's one more stop in Texas. And then I believe the tour slash show, whatever we've been doing, is over, okay? So we're back at the club when the episode starts. They're in Nashville. Sydney Star popped up. And we're coming back from last week's episode and going into this week's. So if you remember, Sydney's there. She's arguing with the girls. And she's on the mic and starts yelling. Slim comes up and tries to grab the mic from Sydney. She gets pissed and she's yanking it, but she doesn't really get it away from her. So, and all I'm like thinking about is y'all are destroying these people's equipment and shit. Y'all are, and this is expensive. I'm sure these mics and stuff can't be cheap. Y'all over here yanking on them, destroying the club, pouring shit, falling over stuff. I'm like, oh my God, but it is the Baddies, I guess. Maybe this club didn't know what they were getting themselves into. So Jayla comes up because she can't get the mic. Slim can't get the mic, so Jayla's like, let me try. I'm going to try to get the mic. Let me get my camera time. And she pulls and tries to get the mic from her, and she doesn't. And Sydney tries to use the bald read, like you're bald, you don't have any hair. And I don't know why they do that with her, or anybody for that matter, because if you can rock it, that's a different story. Jayla to me looks pretty and with the short hair like that. I'm no shade. Like, I'm not even hating on her, even though we have our differences here as viewers and as myself. When I speak on Jayla, she's not always been my favorite. Y'all know that. But at the end of the day, she's a pretty girl to me. I like her short hair. I like the short hair look. And I think a lot of them have been using that, trying to read her. Now, if you can't rock the short hair and you ugly, that's a different story. That's when you can go after somebody. But I mean, it falls flat when you're like baldy or whatever the hell, Sydney called her. So the girls leave and head to New Orleans. And by the way, that was a quick and easy little check for Sydney. I would have done that. Wouldn't y'all have done that? If they were like, yo, show up, start some shit, we'll cut you a check. I mean, she was like on camera for 5 minutes. I would have done it too. Let's see, where are we at? Right here. Okay, so Slim and Roelly, when they get to New Orleans, are apparently missing. Changing rooms. So Slim and Roelly are missing, and apparently they got into some altercation with Scotty in the airport and cameras weren't rolling. Yet again, Zeus. So, like, I get it. Y'all can't go through the airport with camera crews and follow them for every little minute. But can we have a producer or something, that like a talent producer that's always with the girls, pull their phone up when something happens so we can maybe get some context and better understanding when it comes to these beefs and stories? Just like what happened with the water bottle when Rock apparently threw the water bottle at Slim and Charlotte. We didn't get to see that either. So, like, if y'all gonna use this stuff as storyline, let us see it at least, because now we don't really know what's going on. So Slim and Rock, I'm gonna try to break it down as best as possible. They're missing, and Persuasion says that they're missing. Cameras aren't rolling. Scotty confronted them in the airport about the fight with Krayshawn that they had in Charlotte right before they left. And also, why are y'all fighting? Y'all seem to always be fighting in the airport. Y'all remember they said they got into it and somebody else got into it in one of the airports too. Like, there's one place you don't want to get into it with somebody and be fighting it, it's at the airport. Hell, they're gonna arrest y'all's asses so quick, or at least you would think. let's see. So they end up passing Rollie and Slim because they're all in the bus, and they pass Rollie and Slim on the side of the street. They pull the van over, and Natalie's like, I'm gonna go talk to them. Now, Rollie, I got a bone to pick with you. Because y'all know Rollie has been like my favorite damn near the whole season. But she said some things to me that were a little problematic, in my opinion, because she was expressing her frustration to Natalie about why she doesn't want to be here. She says she's sick of the drama, and she says, we haven't done anything. The only thing we've done is go to clubs and fight with trans. And the first time she said it, I'm like, but she said it a couple of times in her confessional. She said it to Natalie a few times, like, I don't want to keep fighting with trans. Okay, it's no secret that Sydney Star is trans, but why do we have to constantly bring that up all the time, Rollie? That would be like somebody constantly saying they don't want to fight with the big girl or the fat girl, as Krishan keeps calling you, or whichever one of them is. They all, the ones that don't like Rollie, rag on her about her weight. That's my point that I'm trying to get across. You wouldn't want people to be ragging you on that, as I'm sure they do. And maybe she's used to it. But the point being is, why do we have to go that low? Because now I'm looking at you like, are you homophobic? Do you have a problem with trans people? Like, how do you feel about gay people, Rollie? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm looking at you like, because you was one of my favorites. And I'm hoping, I really want to try to get her on the show and interview her. I think she's the one I'm going to try to do an interview, my first interview with for the Baddies franchise. I think I'm going to do Rollie. And I'm going to ask her, like, what was it with the comments you saying you don't want to fight with trans? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, maybe we'll get into that. Rollie calls Natalie out for being a shit starter. She says, Natalie, you're starting all this shit. You're controlling all this shit. You start these little beeps over here and then you run the corner. And I mean, hello, it's true. I can't blame Natalie, and then again, I don't. This is why I think she needs to go behind the scenes and stop being the talent, because it's creating bullshit between you and the girls. You can't be fair. Shawnee O'Neal had the same issue when she did Basketball Wives. You know how it is. It happened with Mariah Huck on Married to Medicine. Even though Mariah didn't have as much as control as Natalie does, Natalie, I feel like, has a lot of producing control. A lot of these girls that get the executive producer credits, it's just a vanity title. They aren't really producing. But I feel like Natalie is kind of subconsciously producing in her head as they go along, as she should. I think so. I mean, you want to keep shit interesting, but we've got to be able to understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can't be missing scenes and not filming shit. We've got to be able to understand it. And Natalie, I feel like you would have a better relationship with these girls, and it wouldn't be all drama if you would step back from being talent and just produce. The only real point Rollie had when she was venting was they haven't done anything. And she's right. Like, y'all gone to clubs and you've done some interviews. Like, but in the 10, 11, 12 episodes, what have we seen y'all really do? I don't know. I wish they had more that we could see them doing. Hold on a second, y'all. My dog's barking. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, y'all know how dogs are. They're like kids, damn near. So, back to the show. Rollie. The only real point that she had, like I said, they hadn't really done anything. So, I mean, I agree with her on that. We took time out of our lives and we're on this bus going around the country fighting, not doing anything. I can see that. At the same time, you signed a contract, you got a job you got to finish. Why are you running away? I'm sure producers talked her back into coming back or whatever. And also, what happened off camera for Rollie to flip on Natalie? That's what I was thinking as I was watching this. As it goes on, we get a little bit more context as to why. But what are we not seeing? You know what I'm saying? And it also makes me wonder, what did Natalie do off camera to upset Jayla? Because remember when Jayla all of a sudden was real pissed at Natalie, and we're like, why are you so mad? So something is obviously happening off camera that we're not seeing that's pissing these girls off. Maybe it's the puppeteering and the producing that Natalie's doing. But yeah, Krishan also calls out Natalie on the bus by saying, what's going on with Rollie? That's your best friend, and now it's not. And she kind of calls Natalie fake about it, which is true. Like, Natalie has done a lot of, I'm over here with Jayla, I'm not with Jayla. I'm over here with Rollie and Slim, I'm not with them. So it's like, what's the tea, Natalie? We can see it as viewers, what's really going on. So anyway, they pull up to the house in Nola. They're in New Orleans now. And it's sort of a rough neighborhood, as they said. And the outside of the house, when they pull up, I'm like, this the best y'all could do? I'm thinking like French Quarter, penthouse, something. Like, I don't know. I was expecting more. But when they went inside, I was like, okay, now I can see, like, this is a really, really, really nice house. The inside, the interior decorating, how they did it and all that. And also the Baddies bus is back, as y'all can see. They got the pink bus back, but it's not the tour bus. It's more like a sprinter bus that they can all sit in, which I would be glad that we got a bus now. But at the same time, like, it would have been so dope, to be honest. If I was doing this show, the one thing that I would just be most looking forward to was being on that tour bus. I've always wanted to go on a tour bus. That's like a bucket list thing of mine. I want to go on like a trip on one of those buses, because you got beds, you got everything. There's plenty of room for people to do what they want. But I guess, like they said, they're sick of flying and they're just glad to have something they can travel in and do this road trip in, because it doesn't really feel like a road trip when you're flying from city to city. And they also have a stripper pole, so that's just spice the drive up. I just don't think, watching the show, I don't think Natalie will not ever be able, I don't think she'll be able to ever not do the show. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna be on every season. I've heard her do interviews and say she's gonna step back and just produce in the future, but I don't see it. I think Natalie loves the limelight, and she loves being a reality star, and she loves the drama and the entertaining, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just my personal opinion, and I think that she will stay producing and starring on the show until it ends, till, you know, whatever season that is. Did y'all catch, is it just me, or did y'all catch when Natalie, she was telling the girls about what they're gonna do? They're gonna go out, and she said this, we're gonna meet Sydney there. Was that just me? I could have sworn I got that even in my notes. Natalie tells the girls that Sydney is gonna turn up with them in New Orleans, but then we didn't see her. Maybe she's in next week's episode. But then I was thinking, like, maybe I just heard that. I should have went back and rewound it to see. But let me know if y'all heard that in the comments as well. It's because my thing's like, how do y'all go from screaming at the girl and fighting with her to inviting her with you to the club in New Orleans? I don't know. Maybe, at first I was like, maybe it's because Rollie and Slim are gone now. But then we see Rollie and Slim comes back. Oh my God, another funny scene was when Krishan farted on the bed. And I think it's funny because Natalie was like, I'm spraying my Christian Dior perfume. Always trying to seem like the queen, the baddest. I got this, I got that. You know how Natalie is. And Krishan is like, that smells like church. And my thing is, it probably did. Like, Natalie kept defending it, like, no, this is Christian Dior. This is Christian Dior. Baby, you could have on Gucci head to toe. That don't mean it ain't ugly. Just because you're wearing Christian Dior don't mean it don't stink. You can be wearing a pair of motherfucking YSL shoes. They could be ugly. I ain't really seen nothing ugly YSL, but Balenciaga got a lot of ugly shit. Like, just because it's name brand doesn't mean shit. I could go to the thrift store and put together an outfit that looks cuter than something you could go pay $3,000 for at the Gucci store. Just saying. That's actually how it was in school for me. Like, in school growing up, all the kids would wear like American Eagle and the Hollister and Aeropostale, all that expensive shit. And I would go to these other stores that were cheaper, Route 21, Forever 21, piece me together a cute outfit and come to school looking way better than any of them hoes ever thought they could look, okay? So apparently Rock is still on the run. And she says she's gonna continue running. And if you notice, next week for the preview for next week's episode, we see her get arrested finally, which I'm really shocked for, because I never in a million years thought that they were gonna like go to a different state and hunt her down for a marijuana charge. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they wanted to do it just because of who she is and her star is rising, and they wanted to try to like, oh, let's get her while we can. Like, let the girl turn herself in and end it when the show's over. But we know how the law works. So Bree decides to FaceTime Rollie and Slim. She doesn't want to go out without them. Bree has kind of became the, I wouldn't say the mediator of the group, but she's the one in the group that everybody gets along with, which I can respect, because I kind of feel like that too. I kind of get along with everybody when I'm in groups for the most part. So she wants Rollie and Slim to pull up and go out with them tonight. Calls them, yo, what y'all doing? Pull up. We don't want you to go out without us. I do feel like Bree sometimes pushes a little too hard with her voice, like I said last week in the review. And I hope, like, I'm sorry, Bree, I like you, but I just wish you would, like, is that how you really talk? I'm calling up my homegirls, Rollie and Slim tonight. I want to bring them out. I want my girls to come out with me because I don't feel like, I just feel like they should come with me. And, like, Bree, it's almost like if you are talking like that intentionally, it's a mockery. And I want to see that. I want to see how you speak around your family. And maybe she does speak like that. Maybe she, grew up speaking like that. And I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying, y'all. When she FaceTimed Rollie, obviously Rollie had been smoking a blunt. Her eyes were low. She was calm, a lot more calm than she was few scenes before when her and Natalie were going at it. She was wound up. She was on 10. She was pissed. She smoked her blunt, and homegirl chilled out a little bit. She agreed to come back to the house and go out with the girls since it's their first night in New Orleans. So Rollie says that Natalie was trying to set up, I think she told Bree this. Yeah, I think she was telling Bree that Natalie was trying to set up shit with her and Scotty on the low. And that's why she's really upset with Natalie. So we get some context on why she's upset. And as we thought, Natalie has been doing some producing behind the scenes. She's trying to set up a confrontation between Scotty and Rollie. Now, do I believe it? 100%. 100%. I feel like Natalie has a lot of pressure being the executive producer and the creator of the show. So she thinks that Zeus just wants to see fights. And maybe they do. Maybe they're in her ear telling her, we need fights. So I 100% think she set up this fight between Scotty and Rollie. And which in the end results in a fight between Rollie and Natalie. So it creates even more drama. Natalie doing the behind the scenes work. That's why all the girls are upset. Ding, 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 ding. I kind of figured it all along. I kind of was thinking that. But now to kind of hear it confirmed, it makes sense. Now, Natalie denies it later. We'll see her saying, no. Of course, in true Natalie fashion, she's going to deny it. But you did, Natalie. You did. It is what it is. But if Natalie were to admit it and say, yes, I did, it kind of cheapens the show. Because now y'all are just admitting that you're setting up scenes and, like, it's just too much. So I guess it looks better if Natalie does deny it. Now, back at the house, Natalie calls Roelly from Bad Boys LA. Y'all remember Rel? We did the review for Bad Boys LA. Apparently he lives and is from New Orleans. So it's only right, I guess, for Natalie to call and invite him out. So she calls Rel. He tells her to pull up to this spot that he's at, bring the girls, y'all come out. So Natalie decides she's gonna take the girls out to party with Rel. Now, in the meantime, Rollie and Slim are pulling up to the house. And they come in, and Natalie just instantly has an attitude right off the bat. Did y'all notice? Because as we said, Rollie smoked a blunt, she's chill, Slim's chill. Slim even says, what are you yelling for? Because Natalie is just yelling. Talking about, I've been in Hollywood for 15 years. This is what feeds my family. This is what pays me. Yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, girl, we get it. The cameras are there. Act up and action. Instead of action, it should be and act up. So they get into it. Natalie's doing what Natalie does. And Rolly even says Natalie has this thing where she thinks that she can get louder and louder than you. And just because she gets louder, she thinks that that makes her bigger and intimidating and scarier. But it doesn't. All bark, no bite. They get to going at each other, arguing. And even Rolly says, you don't never do this when cameras aren't around, Natalie. At that moment, Rolly, it should have clicked in your mind, okay, she's doing this for cameras. This is all just work. Let me do it for the cameras too. I would have gave her what she wanted, which she did. We see that Rolly gave Natalie what she wanted because Natalie charges towards her. And what does Rolly do? Rolly gets the 1-2 in, because if y'all see, if you pay attention, now I watched the slow motion version. Shout out to Unlovely T on Instagram, because she's always, or she, I'm not sure, always giving the slow motion shots when it comes to Natalie getting her ass whooped. Rolly goes at Natalie, and if you notice, Natalie hits her head on the wall. Because when she charges at Rolly, all of Rolly's force just pushes against Natalie. Her head goes bam. And then Rolly gets 1, 2, 3, 4 licks to the dome right in Natalie's head. Dow. And I was just like, I was like a fan in the stands at a football game. I loved every minute of it. Now, of course, you don't want to see anybody get hurt. We don't condone violence over here. But, Natalie, you had it coming. You came for the motherfucking queen. You had it coming, Natalie. I wouldn't want to fight Rolly. Why would you want to fight Rolly? Y'all noticed, too, at first, Scotty and Rolly were talking. And they were going back and forth. And Scotty's like, I'm not going to argue with no bitch. And Rolly's like, who's the bitch? And if you notice, Scotty says, points at Natalie. She didn't want the smoke. Now see, Scotty knew better, Natalie, than you. She played the cards right. She pointed over to Scotty like, or to Natalie like, that's the bitch. Go back, if y'all don't remember that, go back and watch. Notice how she don't say you're the bitch. She don't want the fight. Rolly whoops that ass, and then we get a next week on Baddies South. And you know, we get as you see, we see that Rock gets arrested, as I talked about earlier. So we'll get to see that play out. I'm sure we'll get the aftermath of Rolly and Natalie's fight as well, which is going to be interesting. We're almost done with the season. They're in New Orleans, but next week they finish up, and I think they head on over to Texas, which is their last stop. Then the show will be over. So I'm assuming we're going to get 12 to 13 episodes. Next week will be episode 11. So I'm assuming we're going to get, I say 13, 15 with a reunion, which will probably be one of Zeus's longest running series. So yeah, we're almost done with the show. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, let me know if you want to see reviews of Bobby I Love You Purr, which is the new show coming on Zeus, a dating series with Bobby Lights. As I said in the beginning of this video, if you want to see it, check it out. Put a comment below. I'll definitely try to do the first episode just to see what kind of buzz we get. But yeah, comment below. Let me know, whose side are you on, Rolly or Natalie's side? What did you feel? How do y'all feel about Rolly's comment saying she doesn't want to just be arguing with trans all the time, arguing with the trans, or whatever she said? Let me know how y'all feel about that comment as well below. How you felt about the season so far? Give me all your thoughts, okay? Love y'all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.